Yeah, we're gonna get started right now. Typically, we start a show kind of silly. We start bullshitting until we get somewhere where Steven gets mad at me, and then he counts us down, and we do our annoying intro.
I was just going to say, nothing starts a show out quite as spectacularly as a drunken brawl.
Exactly.
I think you're onto something. Steven, it's been a while since we fist fought. Should we start something today? On that note, Steven, you want to count us down, man?
Sure. 3, 2, 1.
Calling all killers, welcome all you kings, scream queens, and everything in between. This is the Kings of Kill podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Steven.
And together we have a special guest. Say hello.
Hello? How's that?
Today we have
Perfect.
We have Mick Strawn with us. Thank you so much for joining us on the Kings of Kill podcast. Hi. Each and every show is dedicated to our killer fans, except for some shows. We have special guests such as...
hold on.
Yes, sir.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You've got fans?
Like 4.5.
Fan.
I don't know about this.
You got a lot of fans on me right now. It's hot outside.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got some flies and there's a dog right here. But other than that.
Thank you so much for joining us. Tell the killer fans, all 4.5 of them, a little bit about yourself.
Well, guys. My name's Mick Strawn. I have been working in the film industry, specifically in horror films, since the very early '80s, and I have been associated or kicked off of, depending on the circumstances at the time. I've been on Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4, which I was production design on those, including Leatherface, the original one back in the old days. I worked on Critters 2, Blade, Mortal Kombat, Hercules, the TV series, since the 90s Hercules.
I'm with you.
That weird little Roger Corman Fantastic Four film. And I'm leaving a lot out, but that's because I'm old and I don't remember things hidden. But just to avoid myself going back and repeating myself because I forgot what I said in the beginning, I think I'll stop there.
You're good. Again, thanks for being on the pod. We appreciate
that. Is a list.
Right? Yeah, no kidding. I'm fangirling a little bit over here, so give me a second.
Don't get any on you.
So what broke you into the industry? Is it true? I saw online that you started with Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. Was that getting your foot in the door?
Oh, well, I didn't start with that. Better than that. I started when my sister was working costumes way back in on off Broadway. So far off Broadway that she was selling purses on the corner to support her theater habit. And a friend of hers, Jean LaFleur, was a director, and he got a job doing and you're going to have to look this up. If you look up Play Safe, it's a Canadian safety commercial. and we worked together on it because the first thing you do if you get hired for a job that you don't know what you're doing, is you hire your relatives so that they can't tell that you don't
right.
know what you're doing.
Right.
You know, and if you look at, we did the set painting and we painted the stupid little robot. And if you look at it, it's actually, it's amazing and I say this purely because I worked on that film, or it was a commercial. I sort of got it. It was a commercial that literally took 3.5 months to complete. Right? It was
really
so fucking complicated. Well, if you take a look at it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And here's the thing. The thing is I didn't know anything about it. After that was done, I went my way. CJ went her way, and we worked together quite often, on and off as time went on. But about 5 years ago, I was doing a Canadian podcast, and I happened to mention, and they said, "Well, where did you get your start?" I said, "Well, the funny thing," and I said, and I painted this robot called Astar, and these two Canadians shit themselves, and they went, "You did Astar?" And I go, Yeah. You ever heard of it? It's this Play Safe thing, the Canadian safety film, and and they said that show, that played in continuous rotation. It was this robot that's spinning through space, right? And in the end, she gets her arm cut off. And I know that this doesn't sound like anything. Gets her arm cut off, and then she grabs the arm and she puts it back on. And she says, "Oh, I'm Astar. I can put my arm back on." But you can't. So you play safe, right?
Okay.
That makes sense.
This played on Canadian TV for 40 years.
Wow.
Every after, it was a Canadian safety movie that commercial that played at least 4 or 5 times every afternoon on every channel that they've got. God, I have no idea how many channels Canadians have, I mean, that's up north, and it's like, I don't even think that we can get that far. And I was blown away. I was like, "You're kidding me." They even made a cartoon version of it, to go with the other version of it.
Yeah, that's for some royalties.
Yeah,
40 years of it.
It is so weird to discover something that you did. Just all of a sudden, like us here on this in this other country that's pretty close to yours and all that. Just it's been running for 40 years. I was just blown away.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So how many Nightmare on Elm Streets did you work on?
I actually worked on. I worked originally on the first one with the revolving room.
Oh wow!
And
wow.
Now here's the thing. I wasn't credited. I just happened to work on that stage all the time.
Okay.
And Jim Doyle, this crazy ass, motherfucker that ever in his life. I mean, the autistic genius. I'm never met your eyes, that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he hired me to come in and help on the stage with the carpentry and putting the room on the inside of it. And when Nightmare on Elm Street left, the next group that came in was me on in Breaking 3, Breaking 2. So I got the construction coordinator job on Breaking 2 because I already knew how that room worked and put it together, the dancing on the ceiling sequence.
That is such a bizarre connection. I would have never thought to connect the two.
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely, right? You know, who in a million years, right? You know, so there was that connection there, but I did that on the first, and then I did 3. I production design. It was the art director. And really, the only reason I was art director is because I didn't know to call myself. I didn't know to call us production designers. Literally,
yeah, okay.
Literally. I just said, I said, you know what? You really need an art director for this, and everybody agreed.
Created your own job.
Actually,
IMDb still calls you an art director. You're still listed as an art director.
Really, it's really funny. It's you know that old expression, dress for the job you want, yeah, or you're going to become what you eat.
Yeah.
Well, it's so fucking true. You know, you will become what you call yourself. Yeah, it's. I had a friend. His name is Jason, and I. When I was working on a film called Quiet Cool, I made friends with the guy who's I was the construction coordinator on that. And then I had a friend, I made friends with the special effects, mechanical special effects guy. And then when he came back down to LA, I started to work in his shop. And I did a bunch of shows as his lead, and working as the lead in his shop, we did the wheelchair for Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and we rigged up. We did the rig for Under the Floor with the snake, Freddy Snake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we did all the rigging for that, and I was going to bring our billing in from the company. I was bringing our billing in, and I had just been let go because they didn't have a director yet, right? And so I get down to the office, and I have all the billing records in my hands. You know, back then when you actually fucking carried things from one place to the other, you didn't just press send. You actually, hey, we need to get paid, so maybe you take these goddamn invoices over there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm standing at the elevator waiting for the elevator at New Line Cinema. And when the elevator gets to the bottom, a guy steps up beside me and we both get on, and I look over and I go, hey, Jerry, what the fuck is up? Right. And this guy worked on Quite Cool. And yeah, fucking elevator pitch in an elevator, in a fucking elevator, and I got the job by the time we walked out of the elevator.
Awesome. That's awesome.
That's a good story.
Because I already knew where all the bodies were buried, and I already knew the effects.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe that's a theme in my life.
Man, the wheelchair. That is so good. Yeah, I've always wanted that wheelchair, to be honest. When I get older, when I have to go into a wheelchair, Zach, make sure I get this wheelchair.
That's the one that you want? Let me tell you, no matter what we did with that motherfucking thing, it wouldn't run straight. Oh,
the spikes and everything on the side. I just want everyone out of my way.
The number of fucking cables and bullshit that it required to get that thing to go straight down the hallway was fucking astounding.
It was a short hallway. It was like thin.
Yeah.
Well, it looked thin on film, but
it was very thin. But I can tell you, it was exactly 85 feet long. There's no reason for me to know that except for that I designed it. So you know. Oh
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
When you're looking back at some of these complicated builds, is there one that sticks out as just such a pain in the ass that just so difficult It was just nonstop headache.
Yeah, you still think about something that was just so just did not go well. Besides the wheelchair.
Oh, the blood sequence for Blade was a motherfucker.
That was an epic sequence, though. That was awesome looking.
That was, that was one of those cases of it was so much more. It was so much more than it looked like. It was so fucking complicated.
Was it just coming out of sprinklers? Is that what it was at the top? I can't remember.
Well, it was. That was how it was supposed to work. But some of the problem. I'm not going to go into the whole thing because it was just a motherfucker. But it turned out that the thing that I wanted is I wanted a particular look to the blood. I didn't want it to look like the blood in Evil Dead that looks like water. That looks like Kool-Aid, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It's like a little Kool-Aid, and then they went like kind of like a paintball, like too thick.
Yeah,
like each Evil Dead, it just gets more different. All the blood gets different.
So I had a really specific look that I wanted, and it caused a lot of problems to get it. But suffice to say, we wound up making 3,500 gallons of it. We had to. It was pumped. It was recirculated. It was filtered. It was the things that you think are fire sprinklers are actually almost the size of footballs.
Oh, geez.
And they're machined. They're specifically, actually, the machine around a dough cutting head, which is basically it's the way that they mix bread dough.
Okay.
And it's got an orifice that's like about an inch, and it presses the materials through this thing and has a corkscrew in it, so that mixes them as it pushes out. And that was the only thing that was big enough that would break up the tendency of this blood to actually kind of coagulate. I mean, it wasn't real blood, but it had this tendency to clump together. And so literally running the pumps and running it through the system actually broke it up more, because it was essentially a ever-setting huge glop of Methicil, which is a product that's used to make pudding, right? Okay. So basically where it was a very thin pudding that was translucent. And the difficulties of doing that made that in order to get it to look like a liquid as opposed to pudding being pushed through a pipe, we had to put it under enormous pressure and send it through 1.5-inch pipes to come out of this 1-inch orifice. And then we had to make sure that nobody was really close to them when they were shooting them, because they looked so enormous, right?
Oh yeah, because I guess it just has like this. It zooms in on it, and there's like they zoom in on it so you don't see anybody around it.
Exactly, that's right.
Wow, smart move.
That's why we had to do that. But it was so that I could get my look out of it, and my look. I can't describe exactly how I wanted it to look, but I wanted it to look like ethereal blood. Like I wanted it to look like the most dangerous blood that ever fucking existed. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to describe it. It was weird. I didn't know how to describe it. I just knew it when I finally got to it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still an iconic scene. I mean, it still kind of nailed it.
It was.
But it sounds like a pain in the ass.
It literally took us 3 months to develop it, all of it. And the thing is that we finally made some of it, and we did an experiment of it. And and everybody thought that the cameras had gone, that the film was bad or the cameras had gone bad because instantly they turned the cameras on, and when it came back in dailies, you saw the set, and then all of a sudden the blood started, then the set disappeared, and everything disappeared. And it's because it was coming out down so dark and thick and heavy that it didn't give the film enough light to actually make an image at frames a second. So then we had to, anyway, it was complicated. It was a lot of work. Let's put it that way.
That sounds insane. I did not know they were the size of football. That's crazy.
No, I thought it would be the simplest.
It just looked like a little sprinkler.
I figured that would be the simplest gimmick ever. I figured just load up pipes, make sprinklers.
True. Absolutely. And you know what? Here's the weird thing is that's where special effects in movies kind of like always bite you in the ass. Because as soon as you go, we can just check that one off because that'll be easy. That's the one that you're going to have nightmares about for the rest of your fucking life.
Oh, I definitely get it now. Yeah, it totally makes sense that they zoom in on it and everything. Now I'm going to rewatch it like there's no one near those. That makes sense.
They couldn't show it. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is they're way up above you, and you think that they're sitting right there, and they're not.
The power of editing.
Well, that would have been the power of forced perspective. I love forced perspective. That's one of my favorite things. I mean, we use that a lot on Nightmare on Elm Street 4. So the sequences in the end when you have the bodies pushing out up against Freddy's chest, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That chest is that part of that sequence is filmed on a chest that is 35 feet high and 22 feet wide.
What the hell?
Is it
like the door from The Haunting?
And it's actual people pushing up against Dental Dam. And in fact, you can see if you go back and you look at it, one of those people is Linnea Quigley, and she's absolutely pressing her tits right through the dental. So fucking, she's got so much pressure on that you can literally count the moles on her tits.
Holy shit. I did not know this. The tits and the fucking how big it is.
Yeah, there you go.
The more I know. I can't wait to watch that movie.
I was going to say, that's a CBS. There you go.
Wow. Yeah. Is there something like you wanted to do to production, but like the budget just wasn't going to let you do it? But was there like a movie or like a thing you really wanted to like?
You know what? Not really. I would just lie my way through it and just make it happen and
work with what you got.
And then the accountants that pull around behind me go, well, yeah, but you know what? We're skills on this. Like, well, yeah. Here's the thing: we make the magic, and then you pay for it.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that's kind of what happens,
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, can't really put a budget on blood. You just do it afterwards.
Exactly.
Now, did you write a book about working on Nightmare on Elm Street?
On the fourth one, yeah, I wrote a book about the fourth one. I wrote a book about the fourth one just because it was one of those. I mean, you didn't know at the time, but at that time, it was the last just huge practical effects horror film that anybody did without. What would you call it? CGI?
Yeah, CGI. Yeah.
Stuff like. I mean, and because of the nature of how that film was done, it was the last of that type, and we also worked on it. We we had to do everything practically because, and it's the stupidest reason that you would. It's not because it was like a big challenge for us, or we were saying to ourselves we're going to be the last, or anything like that. It's just because Bob Shea actually got a release date once he saw how well Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was doing. He thought, wow, you know what, we're going to do the report, and then immediately went and he got a release date for it, right? Which cost a hell of a lot of money back then because you had to get in line, you had to line up the theaters and all the rest of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
all right,
and that was in January of the year that it was released, and it was released on August 18th. So on January he got the release, and he released the funds to start prepping and getting ready to film in February. So we had February. We started in February and literally finished the film to go out to the theaters by August 18th.
Oh,
and here's the thing.
God, what a nightmare. What? How?
We had, hey. I do the straight. Anyway, he set that all. So that immediately eliminated a lot of optical effects. I mean, we couldn't do optical effects. We only had, the only choices that we had is we hired absolutely everybody in town. Everybody, unlike most films where you have like one makeup special effects guy that does the entire film, we didn't do it that way because we didn't have enough time to have one person do that. We had to hire everybody in town to do it. So we had John Fiegler, and we had Screaming Mad George, and Nick Benson's company, and this company, and that company, and that company, and that company, and that, on down the line. And it was my job to hold them all together, to pull them together for the filming.
That's an art director.
That's a production designer, because you're actually doing both jobs. So yeah, no, it was a lot of work. It was a hell of a lot of work.
Wow.
And I wrote a book about it because it was the last of that kind of like really big. It was it was kind of like the new twist that we had put kind of on the old way of making films, and little did we know, like a new way of making films was fucking right around the corner.
Yeah,
because that's when let's say that's late 80s, so 90s is when it started really. Well, 90s, the 90s, bad CGI. 90s was when you started to get bad CGI, and I say that by the time that we got to the 2000s, it was actually worse because nobody was using. Every producer in the world thought, well, this is the fucking best. We don't have to do all this stuff that only 80% of it works. We don't have to actually. It did get worse. So they actually jumped in and they eliminated any other type of effect except for that, and that was how you got such shitty looking movies. There's some blood splatter CGI, and I'm like, come on. Oh, yeah, that's the easiest thing to do. Really, I mean, I don't do it. I can't say it's the easiest, but you know what I mean. I should, dude. It's not like I wasn't there. No, I totally get it. It was like, guys, this is because what they wanted. The problem is in order to get your money, a producer actually would have to have a crew that went out and did work, right? Right. And honestly, every company in the world considers the end consumer to be just a problem a problem to get around just to get your money, right? Yeah.
So, that problem of having a film crew, getting rid of like a lot of these specialists in that film crews, that was just golden hour to them. Everything kind of sucked, but that's they can have their kids watch it. They don't need to watch it themselves.
Right. It's just thinking how bad some CGI is in some movies.
Well, the thing is the funny thing about it is it's almost like what happened then after that. By the time you got into 2015 and 2012 and there, people went back to putting it in the toolbox with the other tools. Yeah, they put it back into the toolbox with the other tools, But then now it's all going to happen again, and you're going to have AI making films, and that's going to be way wacky.
Oh boy, yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go. A lot of people are hating it, so I have faith that maybe people won't pay attention to it or see it. But I don't know. It's just going to be cheaper to do, and there'll be more shit out there, I guess.
Yeah, that's, yeah. Luck and I'll die soon. So that's you guys' fucking problem, not mine.
Yeah.
Steven, you got to hold the fort down, man.
Look, hey, I do not. You know what? The thing is I have one leg. I have one leg in the old world. I have another leg in the new world, and I'm just getting tired of my dick hanging out in between.
But the tips must be so good. Come on.
Well, I'm just saying. I didn't say I couldn't make a buck. Tuck them right into my G-string right here.
Right. Oh man, we're huge Nightmare on Elm Street fans, and then you mentioned so many films though. You worked on Mortal Kombat. What was that like?
Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat was interesting. Mortal Kombat was. I was going down the road. I was going down the road in my favorite car. I had a Mercedes back then. It was very, very nice, and I get a phone call on my horribly expensive, portaphone.
Yeah, the car
back
phone.
In the day, my fucking brick, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh. And there's my friend. He's a producer, and he goes, hey, I need you to get up to the valley. Here's an address. We're up at the Filmworks lab, and I need you to watch a film for me. And I said, okay. And I drove up there, and he showed me a film. And this film was Mortal Kombat. And he says, okay. At the end of the film, he says, what the fuck did we do wrong? I said, well, because it was, thing is I do that kind of work all the time, so I don't mind watching paint dry.
Yeah.
But I said, well, I said, and this is a reference that he would get that you're not going to get. I told him, I said, do you remember the Robin Hood movie from the 30s? And he goes, yeah, of course. And that's for us old people, right? And I said, what do you remember about that? He says, well, I remember the sword fight. And I say, okay. So what happened in the sword fight? He goes, well, Robin Hood is being Sir John, and he fights across the room. He throws the table over. He fights Sir John, forces him upstairs, up a stair that goes all the way around the castle, and goes up the stairs, and then he jumps out and he grabs the chandelier and he swings across the room and lands back behind the table that he had already thrown down. And all of a sudden, the sword cuts the candles that are right behind him, and da 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 da. And it was like interactive with the set. Everything was interactive, right? And I said, and that was very interesting, and that's what you remembered. By the way, do you remember The Princess Bride?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Love that movie.
So this also works if you think of the Princess Bride sword fight.
Mm-hmm.
The famous one that was on the rocks, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, everything was interacted with.
Right. Everything was interactive, right? You know, I mean, so basically I said, here's what you have. You've created a game, and you filmed it, and good on you. You have a 90-minute Mortal Kombat game, and it's just as fucking boring as it can get. And I said, because in the game, what you do is you have these guys fight in this ring, right?
You're involved. You're involved.
If you remember the original game, right?
Mm-hmm.
These two guys they fought, and behind them, everything's scrolled behind them, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I said, here's the thing. That's what you just did, right?
Oh,
it's really, and it's not interesting because nobody gives a shit about these fights between people. I mean, you actually expect people to score for this whole thing, right? You know, it's not working. So here's what we need to do. We need to go in. We need to make some interactive sequences. And he goes, okay, can you write them and design them and go over them with Robin Lee and you guys become a team, and we'll do another month-long shoot, and we'll cut it into the film.
Those were reshoots?
Here's the thing. So I say, thing is you also need to cut out the forest sequence, because the thing with the guy fucking ducking behind the trees as this, you know, thing goes by with a mouth on it just absolutely makes me just go out and take a piss.
Yeah, because in the game, the trees have mouths and they're yelling, and you throw a guy in there if you use a special move.
Right. But the movie version of it, you got to admit, the movie version of it was awesome.
It's just birch trees.
Yeah, it's, you know, they're bad trees is what they were.
And talking about bad CGI, there you go.
Really, I mean, you know, so he goes, okay, Jesus. So he says, what? How do you expect to get around it? And I go, well, I'll make it a set. I'll make a huge set that'll have all these things that'll be happening in it, and it will be visually stunning, and it'll kind of set the mood. And he goes, well, how do we get cut out of this sequence and get to that? And I go, well, what you need here is you're going to need to get yourself an optical asshole. And he goes, what do you mean an optical asshole? And I go, well, I don't know what you actually call it, but it's when all of a sudden the screen has a blip in it, and it goes, and somebody goes through the optical asshole, right? And he goes, great, that's a great fucking idea. And so every on the call sheet for every day that we were in there, optical asshole came up on the call sheet. Was, you know, did somebody bring the optical asshole, and whose job is it to bring the optical asshole, and all the rest of that. and if you've seen the film, you've seen the optical asshole. And did you ever ask for one moment, why the fuck did that happen? Well, it's because I said optical asshole. And I wrote the sequence for Scorpion's Lair.
I was going to say, yeah, once they get into Scorpion's Lair, I mean, he grabs like a shield, he grabs a sword, or the shield with spikes. And he interacts with the whole set. That totally makes sense.
That was my sequence. That's cool. That did not even exist in there. And that breaks up the movie, and it kind of like, and there was a lot of other little things that we adjusted through the film. But that was the main one, was actually making Scorpion's Lair. And the weird thing about, here's, you know, one of those things, you know, where art imitates life, imitating art while art is on a bicycle, right? I'm at my house, and there was a Mortal Kombat game down at the liquor store on the corner, right? And about 9 months after I came up with that idea, and we filmed the sequence, the motion picture comes out. The game company wrote that sequence into the game, and it showed up on the game at the liquor store. And I remember walking in and going, "Oh, well, that's wild.
Optical asshole.
That's my thing, and the whole optical asshole and all the thing." Nobody down there believed me, and I never said it twice, but I was like, "Oh, that's really fucking interesting." There you go.
That must be awesome to see that, though. Wow, that is
it was
incredible.
Certainly funny.
I love that.
In the 90s, you worked on the Hercules TV show, correct?
I did in New Zealand, yeah.
So was that like a real quick
Wait, hold on.
like back to
Is
back?
it Young Hercules with? Oh yeah, back to back.
What?
No,
Sorry,
it's not,
I interrupted.
not Young Hercules. No, Hercules was Sorbo.
Oh, Servo. Okay.
With Sorbo, that then became that one of the of that also has the same look, because that was my look. That the spinoff was
Xena?
what was her name?
Xena.
What? Xena. Xena was the spinoff from that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I did all the original design layouts for that and Xena, and I was there for a year and a half.
Shit. Come home from school and there's Xena and Hercules.
There you go.
On TV, or no, was it USA? I can't remember what network, but it was always on.
Yeah, right. It was always on
for like 4 hours.
If you think that was that is not nearly as popular West Coast as it is in the Midwest.
Really?
In the Midwest, there are more. In the Midwest, there are more. There were a lot more channels of those like local channels, and all of them had Xena and Hercules playing back to back all the time. And I swear to God, I would mention that at a con, and people would go fucking out of their minds. And they're like, that's so weird. I mean,
yeah, I think we had Baywatch 90210 all the time.
Right, exactly. That's what we had, right?
Baywatch or Xena.
Right, exactly. But the thing is, it's funny is the United States is not regional the way that it was it was still regional in the 90s, you know? It was still East Coast and West Coast had kind of like different society, and the Midwest, you know, like they're all different, you know, they were all watching different things and all the rest of that. And then there's Canada up there. What the fuck is that all about, right?
Yeah, anyway. I have no idea what channels they even have.
Oh yeah, it's not television. They just have to. What they do is they take their TVs and they connect them with the string, and then they pull really tight.
Fun.
I'm sorry, that was a pretty weird image.
That's all right. I liked it. I'm down. I'm along for
I
the
like
ride.
it. I like it. I love it. I love it.
And now,
holy shit!
And now you
did Chris say it was going to be? Did Chris say it was going to be like this?
Oh, we're down for whatever, man. We're here to party. you can be.
There you go.
You can be however you want to be. We're good.
Okay.
So you're no longer you're no longer working in film, but now are you working on guitars?
No, I did for I worked. I always have like a guitar somewhere doing something. But I actually worked on film pretty recently. I just did a film called Pig Hill.
Okay.
It's a horror film. It came out about 2 years ago, I think. And I've got a couple that, you know, I'm supposed to do a Cajun werewolf film called Radgor or something like that.
That's okay.
I'm in. Werewolf Cajun. I'm in.
Yeah, and one called Phobia coming. You know, kind of a vampire slash. I can't tell the difference between vampires and zombies anymore. That's one. That's one thing is you get on the set and all I have to say anymore is, okay, is this one? Is this the? Is this the or the vampire one?
Well, I'm glad I'm glad you're still working. Are you trying to keep legitimate, real, practical effects alive?
Oh, I can give a shit one way or the other. I mean, look, like I say, actually, the thing is CGI is so good for certain things. It just needs to be a tool in the toolbox and not the only tool in the toolbox, right? Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah, you know, a friend of mine used to say, this is a good example of this, is that there are too many things in this life that are measured with a micrometer, marked with chalk and cut with an axe. And that's kind of how that goes. That was a joke. Did you even get that?
No. Went right over my head, man. What?
Measured with a micrometer, marked with chalk, and cut with an axe. Never mind. You know, today's kids.
I'm assuming micro is small.
Awful.
I don't know.
Maybe somebody will go through it and actually slow it down on their and go, oh yeah, you know what? If you write that down and get a pie chart going, it's funny.
Let's give me some kid gloves. Give me a beer. I'll get there quick enough. I'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, there you
go. So it seems like I love how you've gotten some of your roles by just running to someone and just shooting your shot and getting gig on the fly. Do you have any advice for like any up and coming artists trying to break into the industry?
Boy, you know what? For the most part, I have two. If you really want to make a living, don't do this anymore because it's a hobbyist thing. 99% of it is a hobbyist thing these days.
Really?
And even people in the business are having trouble. I can't tell you how many friends I have that are so fucking, desperate. They're actually calling me. It's really rough right now. And the thing is, as soon as they start building things with AI, you're gonna have to be the one that does it all yourself, because literally you'll be able to.
Wow, yeah.
But if you want to be involved in business, you need to be in a place where the business happens.
Okay.
People. I get this all the time. People from they're living in Connecticut and go, well, what do you think I should do in order to like be part of the Hollywood filmmaking machine? And I usually go, well, you might start by living in Hollywood and working from there.
I mean, it's pretty on the nose. I mean, that does make sense.
That's what I did. I mean, I literally kind of, but the thing is the ages were like different, but the thing is, if you're not where the decisions are made, then the bulk of the decisions are just going to go past you, right?
Exactly.
So I would get my ass to LA or New York. I mean, if you want to work in the theater and be gay, then go to New York. If you want to work in the movie brigade, then go to LA.
Makes sense. Check that.
Just
can't be in Oklahoma.
Well, yeah. If you want to be in Oklahoma,
wait for a new Twister movie.
Well, yeah, more luck to you, I guess. Bring your own horse.
Yeah.
Bring your own horse.
Oh shit.
Didn't think it was going to go this bad, did you?
No, it's going great.
No.
I'm having a good time.
I love it.
So you just came out. Pig Hill just came out less than 2 years ago. You're working on 2 projects now. Are you working on those projects at the same time, or you just have those things stacked up like as business?
No, that's you don't understand how this works. You have to have at least 5 projects lined up if you're going to work on Monday.
Wow.
Right? It's like one of those businesses. My wife used to say, you have like 6 things lined up, so that there's a chance that you'll be able to work next week.
Oh shit.
And it's not like she was wrong. It's kind of a caustic reminder of how hard it is, but that was kind of the way it was. So it's like, could never deny it.
Because projects can just cancel it any time.
Oh yeah.
Production shut down for COVID.
They just do get canceled. It isn't. It's funny because the Phobia film, a friend of mine is the producer of it, and the wheels turn very rustily and very, and he lines everything up. And this last time, you say it was going to be June 1st, and then he calls me up and he goes, you know what, I don't think it's going to happen on June 1st. I think that we're going to have to move it back. And I go, well, yeah, being since June 1st is like a day ago, I think that you're absolutely right about that. And he goes, yeah, I don't know what to do. Do I call everybody up? I said, well, dude, give me the numbers. I'll call them up. I mean, delivering disappointment is something that I personally think that I have gotten a handle on over the years. That's the way it works.
Yeah. Looking back at your career, is there a certain film? It seems like you're always just in a mad rush to get a project done as fast as possible. Is there a certain film that you remember?
It's such a weird. It is such a weird thing because you know what it is nothing. It's such a weird world because you sit down there and you get a film and you do absolutely you create the film's logic. You die on that film. You put in like a good chunk of 20-hour days and and then when it's done, you don't even think about it. You just walk away and you just go to the next one, and then that's
you're like, oh,
2
years later, like, oh, that came out, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That's what happened in Pig Hill. I was in Pig Hill. It was out there. Everybody's going, "Hey, you worked on Pig Hill." I was like, "Oh yeah, I did. You're right. Yeah. That was a really good film." Yeah. Literally, it was like that was every film is life. It's like, oh well, that was. Back then, I still have some of my own natural hair. Just kidding about that one. I have the best fucking hair you've ever seen.
I mean, I've seen headshots. Yeah, you look like you got plenty, man.
Yeah, dude. You know what? It's no problem on the hair. I'm fat and I talk like an idiot, but other than that, I got good hair.
You belong on the show is what it sounds like. That's what.
Exactly. That's exactly. You know what? Just make sure you get my good side.
You got it. Is there a certain project you remember working on that you just had a blast doing? Like a pass from all the challenges and all the hurry up and go. Is there a certain project that you can recall that you just had like really fun creating gimmicks for?
I think that probably Nightmare on Elm Street 4 would have to be the one. It was just because I had worked on Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was like being was like filming in a sewer where your hands are tied, and you had a gag in your mouth, and it was the fucking worst experience. I mean, the
Zach's Friday night.
The director was a I mean, the director was a dick, and yeah, you know, it's like it was like I just remember having yelling fits with the director on you know, just like nose to fucking nose,
really?
Right in front of everybody, you know, and having everybody score you, you know, walk by with score. Yeah, it was an 8 on that one, you know. That's and then Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was just really smooth. Yeah, it has to be Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
I'm so glad that that Freddy Krueger didn't leave a bad taste in your mouth. You got like you were able to do the fourth one and actually leave it on a good note, because I mean that series is so utterly iconic. You worked on another series. You worked on Leatherface, right? How was that?
Yeah, Leatherface was great. Leatherface was. I was working with Jeff Burr, and Jeff Burr's a great friend of mine. You know, director. I remember. I remember the Grateful Dead were doing a West Coast tour during the filming of that, and he would every weekend. We went out and we bought a VW van, like one of the '60s ones, you know, with the pointed front end, and we literally took this van, which is trash. It was just, you know, just barely fucking running. I think we hand painted the motherfucker to go to every show that we could on every weekend while we were filming. And we literally caught like Long Beach and LA and the Forum, the Coliseum, and up and up and up in Berkeley and and finally when we caught the Sacramento show, we drove to it. My art director, I was production designer, I had an art director. He did a bunch of mushrooms, right? And
as one does, yeah.
As one does, right? And so we're driving back, and we were driving back Sunday night. You know, it was a Sunday afternoon show. Driving the van back, van breaks down a couple of times. Of course, naturally, you know, it was Volkswagen, and so eventually, all this time he's just sitting in the chair, staring straight ahead, not saying anything, just you know, quiet. You know, one of those situations where you look over him at the corner of your eye, going, "Wow, I just hope this fucking turns out all right." You know, so we finally, you know, we literally get back to LA like 7:00 in the morning. Drive right up onto the set, right at call time. Drive onto the set in the VW van. Open the doors. Two of us get out. The director's standing there. The DP always wore this. It's really funny because the director was he was a schlub like me, right? You know, and everybody always thought that the director of photography was the director. Because for one thing, we would always point to him. The both of us would point to him and say, "Well, go ask him," you know, and fuck with everybody because, you know, he looked so much like a director, and neither one of us did. And we're standing there. The four of us are standing there, and sorry, me, Brad, next to me, he's my art director. Brad was all standing there, and John, I can't think of the name of the DP, but you know, he says hi, and Jeff says hi, and we're bantering back and forth, and I realized that Brad is still just looking straight forward, just not doing anything, you know, just standing there with his hands at his side like a broken robot, you know, and I swear there's that moment where, you know, it goes quiet after you said everything. And then you just really notice the guy that's standing there just not saying anything. And he starts to follow something with his hands like he's plucking a fly out of the air. And he goes around, and he grabs the thing that isn't in the air and then puts it in his pocket. And then puts his arms back down, and we're all, and everybody's looking at me like, so what's with Brett?
It's fine. He's having a great time. He caught it. He's fine.
Yeah.
He caught it. He's fine.
Yeah. And we just faded away into the set.
Wow.
Good times. Good times.
That's awesome. So your next project you're working on is Phobia. Do you know when that's coming out yet, or are you still working on it?
I don't know. We're still like that was the one that was going to go June 1st. So
okay.
It'll happen or it won't. It's I'm not going to lose sleep because otherwise I wouldn't have slept one moment for the last 40 years.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate you having you. I feel like there's.
Oh, you're welcome.
I feel like there's 1,000 more stories that we can get into. Maybe in another day.
You haven't got the time.
Oh, I bet we do.
We'll have to do a part 2 for sure.
Literally, call me up if you want some insanity. Next time we'll stay away from the Nightmare on Elm Streets and we'll go into like some of the other.
I can't wait. Let's say bye to the Killer fans real quick. Everybody, my name's Zach.
I'm Steven.
And we've had Mick. Say goodbye. Thank you so much. Together we are the Kings of Kill.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.